So 9 years ago, I purchased 214 acres. Since then, I have added to those acres, both leased and owned, until now I control a block that is 1,550 acres. From the original 214 acres, I've expanded to 490 acres that I own currently. I'm going to carve off 330 acres, and it's a bittersweet moment to go list it with LandGuys. But the reason I'm really in this business is to produce great television, and my passion for developing these deer. I'm to the point with this farm where there's not a lot left to be done. It's completely turnkey. Now this is a tough decision for me. I've been managing this property for over 8 years. If we pull back to 30,000 feet on the hog farm, there's 4 distinct zones. If I call zone 1, it would be the northwest corner, that is Jared's Corner in the Gap. Now during the pre-rut, that late October timeframe, there's no better place to hunt on the entire farm than up in Jared's Corner. If you think about how the Midwest works, it's connecting big blocks of timber. And whenever you have a pinch point, you have a perfect scenario to intercept those rutting bucks. And of course, my greatest memory on the farm is when Sydney killed her very first deer on the Gap.
All right. Oh, gee, don't move. All right, can I go?
Yes.
Should I go?
Okay, Sydney.
Right, Mom.
Whenever you're ready, shoot them. Right where I told you. Just be really smooth, Sydney. Good.
I need him to pick up his head. Can I shoot?
Oh, I think you just went down.
Oh my God.
You hit
I actually hit him. I hit him.
You hit him perfectly.
I didn't know I was gonna hit him. I closed my eyes and pulled the trigger. Oh my God.
Whenever you buy a raw farm, there's a lot of knowledge that you have to gain, not only on the age structure and the deer density, but how you hunt those deer. And over the last 8 years, we have gone from having 1 or 2 deer in that 5.5-year-old age bracket or above to over 10 deer that we're chasing in an individual year. But last year we had 3 deer, without a doubt, that were over BOONE and CROCKET. And one of those we harvested and put on the wall. When you look at any good whitetail habitat, it's food, cover, and water. When you think about food, you have to have diversity of food. You have to have corn, beans, brassica, clover, everything that you need to keep the whitetails on your property throughout the year. But as important as water and food is, you have to have the habitat. Year to year on the hog farm, we can have booners anywhere on the property. And I would say my favorite place to hunt on the entire farm, believe it or not, is just 500 yards north of our hog barn. And it seems to be the hub of all the big buck activity. This area has great thermal cover and food that surrounds it, but just a little bit northwest of that is a boomerang-shaped field nicknamed the Boomerang, and that was always our go-to location. If we need to kill a buck, film a buck, that was the place to go. And I remember a great January hunt. I killed a nice 150-inch 10-point that probably weighed 250 pounds. Unlike a lot of other farms in the Midwest, the hog farm is unique in that the deer that are born on the farm, they stay on the farm because they have the security cover, they don't have the pressure, and they have unlimited food. We have 60 tillable acres on the farm. 50% of that we cash rent out to the farmer. The other 50% we use strictly for food plot. Other than the time that my girls have killed deer on the hog farm, the biggest memory that stands out in my mind is killing Maverick on a snowy January evening when we had an incredible storm blowing in. And here's a mid 180-inch deer, 6.5-year-old buck that I had watched grow up since 3 years old, finally become a day walker and step out into the Northeast food plot to the most memorable big buck hunts that I've ever had anywhere. When I'm looking at a farm, I consider a lot of things. I consider what the habitat is, what the holding power is, what the age structure is, but one of the most important things to consider is access. If you can't get in and out of a stand location without influencing or pressuring those big bucks, you're not going to kill them. I think what makes the hog farm really unique and really easy to hunt is the fact that we have this spider web of ditch systems which create the artery of the property. These deer run the ditches, so we know what their travel corridors are, and we never get in and influence that activity. We let the deer do what they do. We can nose in and be very tactical on how we hunt these deer without ever getting into the core area and pushing them out. I'm not only about growing big bucks, I'm about killing them. And there's no farm that has access like the hog farm. So when you look at the entire geography of the hog farm, you can see why these deer grow up, they feel safe, and they ultimately die in our core territory.
Buck. Behind him.
That deer was the caribou buck, the deer I had 7 weeks in pursuing.
Noise? Yeah, but don't shoot yet. He's behind a tree. Look, he's going to be the buck right there.
Matt?
Shoot him there. We just got the caribou buck. I cannot believe it.
Look at this whitetail. What a giant buck.
We have a really unique setup. When the west side of the farm is planted in corn, the east side is planted in beans, and vice versa. Having these alternating crops creates a unique situation for moving deer around the property. So when the east side of the property is planted in corn, it brings all the deer into one central location. And I've killed 2 BOONE and CROCKET bucks on the east side of the property. And the footage we have on this kill is incredible. I've been buying, selling, and managing properties throughout the Midwest for a lot of years now. And yes, you need good food, cover, and water. You need to have good genetic potential. But for me, there's 2 other big reasons to identify a piece of property that's worthy of buying. One is access. Can I get in and effectively kill these deer? And the other is an intangible. Do I like the way the property looks? Does it have big, mature hardwoods? Is this something pretty? Is this something I can enjoy sitting on the edge of a field and watching 50 deer come out? If I can check every one of those boxes, that's the property for me. So if you're looking for a farm in the Midwest that has that booner potential, that has the age structure in place, that's already turnkey, where you can just move into that neighborhood and know that you have something special, the hog farm is something that you need to consider. If you want more information on the hog farm, please contact Jared Williams or Toby Stay at LandGuys. These guys intimately know this farm and will give you a private viewing.